Good day, fellow champions of inclusion. I am A. Ron, and this is the Inclusive Dad podcast, where we explore inclusion and make it practical. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join me in exploring ways we can create a more inclusive world together. You are important, you matter, and you can make a difference. Today, my guest is Lynette Weldon. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Why don't you just start us off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Well, my name is Lynette, and I am a mom, a grandma. I'm a caregiver coach. I founded a nonprofit horse rescue ranch, and I also have a daughter who has Down syndrome.
Awesome. So yeah, what started your journey in as a caregiver and your everything you're doing? Your daughter, I guess your daughter probably.
Yeah, yeah. Well, actually, it started when I was a preteen and
Okay.
watching my mom care for my dad. He had multiple brain tumors, surgeries, radiation, chemotherapy, all of that. So I watched her care for him for years. And the one thing I remember is thinking, oh, I just don't want to end up like that because I watched her struggle so much, you know? And then fast forward into my mid 20s, and I have a daughter who was born with Down syndrome, a hole in her heart, diagnosed with diabetes at 8 months old. And so that started, the caregiving all over again for me. And yeah, so that's a little bit about that. And um, it's just been a long journey, a good journey, a very rewarding one. And I'm, trying to help other caregivers right now achieve some balance in their life because when you have a child like that, there's not a whole lot of balance in the beginning.
Yeah, for sure. What is your definition of inclusion?
Offering the same opportunities to everybody with the least amount of restriction and looking at them as individuals, not lumping them in one category.
Yeah, I love that definition. Yeah, when I was getting ready for the interview, I saw your stuff about, caregivers and you having a daughter with Down syndrome. I have a daughter. She's 23, was diagnosed with epilepsy at like 3 months old and then cerebral palsy. So just, that's so I never really
Yeah.
I've identified myself as a caregiver, which I find interesting. I was reading your stuff. I'm like, hey, hold on a second. I am a caregiver. I've always kind of
Yeah.
identified as, just I'm her dad, but we can
Yeah.
be more than one thing at a time. So I would found it interesting that I haven't used that term to describe
Connected.
myself, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're thrown into it, right? It
Right.
just
Yeah.
happens. It's not something that you plan for. And so you just kind of put your head down and power through and do what needs to be done to care for the person. And before you know it, you're like, whoa, wow, And so, yeah, a lot of people don't really connect the dots. But there's way more, as parents, we are expected to do everything perfect, you know,
Hmm.
but then you throw in a child with a disability and it like magnifies.
Yeah. Did you have any um exposure to like people with disabilities prior to your daughter being born? I guess you saw your mom caring for your dad, but I guess I'm not sure if that would.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I did in school, and it wasn't so great back then, Um, They came in a separate door. They were bussed around to the back. They were in one classroom. You didn't see them in the hallway. They had different lunch time than we did. Got a little bit better when I was, in junior high and high school, but we've come a long way from there. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I don't ever recall, the word disability being used. I went to Christian school through kindergarten through 8th grade, and that was never special education. I don't think we had
Yeah.
anything with that there. And then high school out of public school, and I don't ever remember special education being talked about, seeing wheelchairs. I'm sure there was, kids there. I didn't realize it or something, or just didn't sink in since I didn't have the
Yeah.
connection. So when my daughter was born, it's like this whole universe, that parallel universe I call it, that was there
Hmm.
that I never even knew existed. And all of a sudden you're like, yeah, you're in it and trying to figure out what's going on. And
Yep.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
So it's a lot sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, how has your struggles as a caregiver shaped who you are today?
I think that for one, it's made me more aware of people and understanding that you don't always see what they're going through and someone's always going through something. And I think that um, it really it kind of made me a fighter. I was a fierce advocate for my daughter. I wasn't going to take anything from anybody if it didn't benefit her. I was going to go, you know, I was going to get it done for her. I wanted
Yeah.
her to have the best possible life. And so made me a little bit stronger, probably more a little kinder, you know. Um I, as much as we have gone through, I look at her and think, "Oh my god, she's been through so much and her little lifetime, and she's such a warrior." And I think that she changed our whole family for the better. She really did.
Yeah, yeah, it's very like I mean, I understand that part. It's very interesting. Growing up, I didn't have like grand plans for my life, but I mean, it just, I mean, I grew up as in the church and as a Baptist, and like the man's the head of the house, needs to provide and all that stuff, and you need to work, work, work. And then, having my daughter, it's like, okay, that's not all life's about. Like, I don't want to spend my whole life working and not enjoying the moments. If I'm at work all the time, not enjoying some stuff, I can't, see all the, life in its fullest. So it definitely does change your perspective. And I mean, you see, I don't know about you, but I see things that I would never saw before. Like, especially she uses a wheelchair. So all the inaccessible places and,
Mhm.
you're out in public and you notice those parents with, a kid with a disability and you can like, hey, yep, I see you guys. And,
Yeah.
it's like, it takes a lot sometimes to go out in public. So that's cool that you guys are in public. So you see those things.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. So I'm a father and male. Do you see like a difference between like how men and women process like being a caregiver, or do they have different struggles, or talk a little bit about that maybe?
I think most of my clients have been women. I've
Okay.
had, some men, but I think a lot of times I think it is conditioning and how we're raised. You know, I think it's harder for men to reach out and ask for help, maybe, or admit that they're struggling. They have to be, the strong ones. So, that's probably the biggest difference that I see. As far as the struggles, I think they're all the same, really. I just think that most men, don't reach out for help and talk about it as much as women do.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense for me. I mean, growing up, I don't, we didn't really talk about anything as a family, so I have that on top of, men maybe generally not talking about stuff. So just, yeah, for a long time, just Um, my ex-wife, she stayed home with the kids, so I would work and then come home, and I knew she was stressed out, so I would, when I was home at night, I would try to take care of as much stuff as possible and then go back to work the next day, and then after a while, you're like, okay. You realize at some point you need to rest and stuff's not gonna go well
Mhm.
if you don't get rest or have your own times. It's
Yeah,
now I can
yeah,
see it. I can tell when I'm getting, dysregulated or need a break. But, back then it was you just put your head down and you're not thinking about that, how it's going to affect you long term. So it definitely, I can see that
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, I think that's one of the hardest things for caregivers to do is to recognize they have to take care of themselves too.
Right.
Because we're just used to doing everything for the person that we're caring for and we sometimes feel like it's selfish, you know? I can't until everything is done or, if I do take time away for myself, I'm not the best parent or caregiver or, so I think that's one of the hardest things for them to recognize.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense too. And I mean, I know. I live in Minnesota, so we can, well, currently we can, get paid to help take care of her, partially so we don't have to work full time and that kind of stuff. And for a long time, for a while, it's like, I mean, I'm the parent. Why should I get paid to take care of her? And it's like, I mean, that's there so
Yeah,
you can like stay home and take care of yourself, but
yeah,
you still have a little bit of guilt or whatever it is where it's like, well, I shouldn't get paid to take care of her because I'm her dad. But it's like,
huge.
okay, but
Yeah,
I
yep,
need that so I don't have to work 70 hours a week and then
absolutely.
do this on
I
top of it.
remember
So
that
it's,
also.
even those things trying to process that stuff.
Yeah, yeah, because as a parent, you think, well, you shouldn't get paid to take care of your child. But the reality
Right.
is that you are, I'm still her
Yeah.
caregiver and she's 36. Had
Right.
she been a normal child, I would not be doing everything that I'm doing. And caregivers, they take a huge financial hit. A lot of
Right.
times they have to, go to part-time or quit their jobs or, so absolutely. I don't think that there's enough financial support for caregivers who are home caring for somebody, especially when they're there full time.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I don't know about where you live, but in where we live, it's more rural. So there's not a lot of people, PCAs and that kind of stuff to help out. So, I mean, it's, when
Yeah,
you're relying on, PCAs and I mean, they don't stay around very long or something happens and now you're a month or two without one. I mean, it's hard to, then you're the one,
yeah,
having to do all this stuff. And my daughter, she needs like help with all daily living tasks. So, I mean, you're always, when she's around, when she's over at our place, it's always, you have to be with her doing stuff. It's not, you don't have a lot of downtime. So it can be, it's a lot.
yeah.
How can living in gratitude change the way we see our life and circumstances?
Geez, I love that topic because, you can't focus on a negative and a positive at the same time. And, your thoughts affect how you move through the whole world. And so I just really think, I've had clients say to me, "How can I be grateful if I'm not happy?" And I think it's the total opposite. I think that you start to become happier and you shift how you feel when you are grateful for things. And I don't care who you are, there's always something to be grateful for. So that's one of the things that I do in my caregiver course is every morning have them recognize, what am I grateful for? And I think that it just shifts how you feel.
I mean, so yeah, for me, I don't think about being like what I'm grateful for a lot. I mean, all the time, but I mean, I know what you're saying. And it's some days it's just the small things too. I mean, I woke up,
Yeah.
the sun's out today. It's not foggy when I woke up this morning. I mean, it's just the small
Yeah.
things. You need to start out
Yeah.
building those,
Yeah.
even the small things, and then you can get better at it.
Yep.
What does your daughter like to do for fun? She like to listen to music, or what does she like?
She loves music. She
Okay.
loves music. She likes to sing. She always wants to, if there's karaoke anywhere, she wants to go. Um, she loves to shop. Her favorite thing is going to the thrift store. Travel, she's just, and she's got a great sense of humor. She makes us laugh nonstop. Um, and she's just brutally honest. There's no filter there. But yeah, I think her favorite thing is music.
What does she like to listen to, or is she like everybody?
She likes everything. Yeah. Yeah.
And my daughter loves music too, so I bought a used record player, so I bought a couple of albums. So we've been listening to like, now she loves Elton John. We watched the Disney Plus. They have his last
Oh, yeah.
concert at Dodger Stadium, so we were watching that over the weekend, and she loves singing all that stuff and going to concerts. So yeah, music is a big. And it's
Yeah.
funny because I know that, and then like we have some stretches where we don't listen to music, and then like this weekend I turned the radio on where she starts singing along. It's like, why don't I do this more often? Like it goes way better when we have the music
Yeah.
on, but you kind
Uh-huh.
of forget it, and then it's like, oh man, we just have to have music on all the time because it goes so much better.
Yeah. I, brought my daughter to Taylor Swift years
Okay.
ago when she first came out, and I think I had more fun watching my daughter and all the
Yeah.
other kids around her than actually the concert. Yeah, music is, I think we all need music in our life.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the last concert we brought my daughter to is went to see Post Malone and Jelly Roll up at US Bank Stadium, which that's a
Them, yeah,
yeah, so
yeah.
my girlfriend and I we've seen Jelly Roll 3 times and Post Malone, that was the second time, and that was our second concert at US Bank Stadium, but, like, it's just so big, and, I mean, she's in a wheelchair, so it's just so much more work than just my girlfriend and I, but it was a lot of struggle getting to the seats, and it was people were upset from other stuff, so, I mean, it was very frustrating, but as soon as she got in her seat, I didn't have a place to sit because it was a mess, but, she got there and could see and listen, and she's, like, starts belting out, and I'm like, "Okay, Aaron, okay." I mean, you are upset, but, like, it's not worth, like, ruining the concert. I mean, we bought the ticket so she could enjoy the music. She's enjoying it, like,
Yeah.
my stuff, put it aside for now, so it's yeah, I mean, yeah, like you said, it was
Yeah.
much fun to watch her just belt out the songs that she knew and be laughing and jumping around and, so yeah,
Yeah.
it's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, music is a big thing. Yeah, it's fun. So and she's in the stage where every guy is cute, so that's the stage we're in. Like any guy. Yeah, they're cute. They're my
Oh.
boyfriend. I'm like, don't you have like 15 boyfriends already? It's too many.
Yeah. Yeah. My daughter wanted to marry Jackie Chan. She
Wow.
used to
Okay.
watch all those movies. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's funny. Why is it so hard to set boundaries and say no?
I think, well, I know that with women and who I've worked with and myself personally, you know, and I think it's a generational thing too, how we were raised. But, we're taught that, if we say no, that's selfish, or we want to please everybody and make everything good. And I think sometimes when people say no, they feel like they're letting somebody down or they're not doing what they need to do for that person.
Mhm.
And, but I think that especially as a caregiver, it's really important that you protect your time and your energy, and not spread yourself so thin, saying yes to everybody. Every time you say yes to somebody else, you're saying no to yourself. And, one of the things I do personally and I, teach my clients to do is that we're so conditioned to automatically saying yes.
Mhm.
Why? We don't have to say yes right away. We can pause, before we do, or say, thanks for asking, but can I get back to you? Or, you know, to really, because we already have so much on our plate. Right? And so I think it's really important that we learn to set those boundaries and say no to things that are gonna drain us.
Yeah. No, it is interesting the boundaries and saying no even today. This morning I got a text from my day job and like, "Hey, would you be able to do this group on, this night at this time?" And like my brain's like, "I mean, I can." I mean, yes, I can, but I already have something that I've been doing that at that time for, months and I enjoy that. So it's like, can I? Technically, can I? I can, yes, but like so that's my initial brain response, but then it's like, hold on a second, like why are you making work more important than what you enjoy doing and is your time
Yeah.
already? So it's interesting how your brain is like, plus mine is how do they word it? Can you? Yes, I can. Do I want to? No.
Yeah.
Should I? Probably not.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it is hard because and I don't know about you, but for me, since if it involves my daughter, like I really have a hard time like saying no, even if I'm told, even if I probably shouldn't. Like if she wants me to do something or it's something that I know will help her or she likes, it's really hard. Those are the hard times for me to say no, but I'm getting better at it, but it's hard to say no.
Yeah. It's always a work in progress.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. How can family and friends better support caregivers?
Um, I think it's kinda twofold, I think that family and friends, one of the most important things I think is for them just to, check in. How you doing? I think a lot of times it's a very isolating and lonely place to be. And I think that on the other end of it, I think that it's important that we, you know, have honest conversations and ask for what we need. And sometimes it's just really simple things that we don't even think it's okay for us to ask for that a lot of people would be more than happy to help with, you know? So I think it goes both ways. Yeah. And the other thing too is I think that people mean well and they'll say, let me know how I can help or reach out or, um, but we have to then respond to that. And I think a lot of times people don't know how to help us either. They want to help, but they're not quite sure how.
Yeah. So, like in those situations, what do you tell your clients how do you help them through that process if they either have a hard time asking for help or, people around them maybe don't know what to ask?
Well, for one, I always ask them to have an honest conversation with the family, everybody in the family. And, just because you've always done it doesn't mean that you have to continue. And it's okay to say, I'm burnt out or I'm tired or I need some time for me. Do you think you can do XYZ?
Mhm.
You know, and sometimes it's just, calling your spouse or maybe you have an adult child that can drive and hey, can you stop and pick this up for me or go to the pharmacy or so there's a ton of strategies that you can use. um and I think that it's hard in the beginning for them, and it's kinda like a muscle you have to build, right? You have to actually learn how to do it because if you've never done it before, it's gonna be difficult.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is sometimes in the beginning, when you set boundaries or ask for help, you're gonna get a little bit of pushback because people aren't used to it. And you just have to keep at it, keep asking, keep setting the boundaries, and eventually it'll fall into place.
And like you said, you have to have those conversations because you can't. I mean, like I said, growing up, we didn't talk a lot in my family, so but you can't like just assume that because I'm thinking it, they know how I want them to help out. So
Yeah,
you have to take the time for those conversations. Coming from a family where we didn't really talk about stuff, I didn't have a lot of good skills around how do you have conversations, and if they become like tough ones, how do you have a respectful
yeah,
disagreement. So you you have on top of that sometimes those things you have to work through in the middle of it too. So it's just yeah,
mhm,
definitely have to
yeah,
talk, and sometimes it's not fun, but like you said, you get better at it the more you talk and those things. Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Why is having a purpose and identity outside the caregiver role essential for mental health, self-worth, and happiness?
Well, I think that you kinda lose yourself in all of this, especially in the beginning because you're like I said, you're kinda thrown into it and you just do what needs to be done. And, pretty soon you can look in the mirror and not even recognize yourself. And, I think it's important that people learn how to fill themselves back up, and part of that is recognizing, you know what did you used to enjoy that you don't do anymore? How did you get energy, calm down? What made you happy? And even though your life might not ever look the way it did, you can still have pieces of that back. But, I think it's important that everybody has a purpose and feels good about their life. And the other thing too is having a why. Why do I really need to do that? Yeah. And it doesn't matter what your why is, but I think it's important to have a why.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about this happens to you, but I feel like for me, a lot of people know me as my daughter's name is Cecilia. We call her Cece, like Cece's dad. Do you have the same thing where everybody knows you as your daughter's mom and not really what your name is,
Yeah.
maybe?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, there's Jordan's mom, especially when she was in school, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, and it's interesting, like the
Oh,
other students or kids like in that, that I know because of my daughter, it's like the same thing. And they're this person's mom or dad. It's like, do I even know what their name is? I'm not sure.
yeah. We're their
It's kind of
people.
funny. Yeah, for sure. How do self-talk, mindset, and self-compassion affect our ability to keep going?
Um, I think as humans, we put really unrealistic expectations on ourselves. And, when we can't meet them, we are really hard on ourselves. So we beat ourselves up and think, I shouldn't have, or I should have, or why didn't I? And it's, recognizing, there's several steps to that, recognizing what you're actually telling yourself, because we all have those tapes that play in our head whether we recognize it or not. And most of them are negative, and, recognizing that you can't do everything 24/7 for everybody all the time and that you're doing the best that you can. And I think that when you don't and you put those unrealistic expectations on yourself, then you feel like you failed. And, then it becomes this vicious cycle, you know?
Yeah, I've been recently with work switched to helping co-facilitate DBT groups, so I've been getting into the DBT stuff more than I have, and it's interesting how working through some of that stuff, just trying to be in the moment and mindfulness, and like all of a sudden like realizing, oh, what is this what is this I'm feeling? Oh, it's this emotion, and just being able to like identify the emotions and be like, okay, where'd that come from? Why
Yep.
is that popping up? So just trying, but you have to take the time. Yeah, I mean, and as a caregiver, sometimes like you're busy all the time, so you need to have those times where you can like just sit there and, I mean, been fishing a lot, just go to the lake and fish for a while and just kind of shut everything else off to have that time to like your brain to slow down and think about things because it's hard when you're going from one thing to the next. So it's definitely the self-talk and self-compassion and just being nice to
Yeah.
yourself. Like you're doing the best you can.
Yeah.
Like you're thrown into this, you're just doing what you can. And sometimes it's maybe you're not proud of everything the way you did it, but that's what happened and you got through it and you'll do better next time.
Yeah, and we do. We don't recognize feelings. We have a tendency just to shove them down and ignore
Hmm.
them, and they're gonna come out one way or the other,
Yep.
And sometimes, if you just stop and ask yourself, "Why am I feeling this?"
Hmm.
It might not even be about the situation. It could be something that, happened hours ago or even days ago,
Hmm.
but we have a tendency just to ignore it and, just go about our day. And it just is so unhealthy, because it's going to come out one way or the other.
Yeah, for sure. Or those times where an emotion pops up and like, wow, where'd that come from? And it's like, also, why is it so strong? Like whatever caused it was not that big of a deal. So why is it such a strong, strong reaction to
Yeah.
whatever it was? It's kind of, yeah, once you start like recognizing stuff, it's interesting. Like, where did that come from? Like, I don't even,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yep.
but like I said, growing up, we didn't talk about stuff. I mean, I'm 48. We didn't talk about emotions or any of this stuff growing up. So now trying to, like, it's okay. This is interesting, but stuff we should have
Yeah.
been taught a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, from like when you're working with your clients, what are like the biggest caregiver stressors and how can we replace them with healthier coping strategies?
Um, well, one of them is, when you wake up in the morning. I know that for most of the caregivers that I work with, especially in the beginning, they wake up and their mind is already racing. Is everything
Hmm.
okay? What happened last night? What's on my list? What do I need to do? And it's, you're instantly in that fight or flight mode. And one of the things I tell them to do is don't jump out of bed. Don't look at your phone. take a few minutes, either meditate, do some deep breathing, um, pray, do gratitude work, and then, set an intention. How do I really want to feel today? What do I actually have to do? Instead of having 100 things on your list, pick 2 or 3, you know? And try to let the rest go. So, that's one thing that they can do. And, everybody thinks of self-care as this big thing, a whole day away or, at the spa or a vacation. And a lot of times it's really simple things you can do throughout the day. It's just finding those, moments, 5, 10, 15 minutes here and there throughout the day to do something for yourself that makes you feel present and grounded so that you're not, in that fight or flight mode because you can only do that for so long before it wreaks havoc on your
Yeah, for
on your
sure.
body.
Yeah, I like that. Just like you said about self-care, it doesn't have to be something large. Yesterday in one of my DBT groups, we were talking about building mastery and just talking about like what can you do each something small to start building mastery or accomplishing something. And for me, it's
Yep.
I'm like washing dishes. Like, I mean, it sounds weird that I like washing dishes, but I like doing that because I think I can, complete something. Because I know as a caregiver, if you're busy and just so much stuff going on, like you feel like you're not accomplishing anything. So for me, just that small thing of washing dishes, like I can finish it. I can see that they're done. Like they're all there, they're in the dishwasher, they're washing, put away. It's just something that I've accomplished. So sometimes things like that too can make a big difference.
Yeah, I call that the 1% rule, you know? Even 1% can shift how you feel or make a difference in
Yeah.
your life. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, when you talked about the caregivers waking up and they're, already kind of amped up, that's for me. My daughter comes over stays over usually 2 nights a week, and she has, like I said, epilepsy. So it's weird. It sounds weird saying it out loud, but those nights where she actually sleeps the whole night, and then I wake up like at 7, and I was like, okay, we have a monitor so we can hear her if she needs something, but like it's okay, is she okay? Like you have your brain is going to like, uh-oh,
Yeah.
she didn't wake up during the night. Is she okay? Which sounds really weird
Uh-huh.
saying it out loud, but it's just that's
Yeah.
just the way it is. It's hard. And I sleep differently. When she's here, I don't sleep as deep. It's just it's not like
Mhm.
a conscious thing. That's just what
Yeah.
happens. It's just your
Yeah.
body's used to.
Hypervigilance.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What is one tip you can share today to help the listeners be more inclusive? So just something anybody can start doing today to be more inclusive.
Oh, let's see. Just recognizing, people, asking how they are, saying hello, offering help. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just being more aware, I guess.
yeah, that's a great tip because yeah, I grew up at a time where you held doors open for people and you say please and thank you and just, go to the gas station, hold the door open for people. You just look at their face and usually a lot of times it just makes a big smile, like just that small thing of I'm taking 3 seconds to hold the door for you so you can go in first just makes a difference.
Yeah, it does.
You ready for or actually, where can everybody connect with you or if somebody wants to get a hold of you, how do they find you?
Um, I'm on Facebook, Coaching with Lynette, or just under Lynette Weldon. My website is LynetteWeldon.com, and there's a ton of info on there. Some, free ebooks, tips. You can. My calendar is on there if anybody wants to have a conversation.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Ready for the last question?
sure.
You like spam lunch meat? Yes or no?
No,
That was fast.
my daughter does
What?
though.
Does she? Okay. Has she ever been to
Yeah.
the spam museum?
No.
No. So yeah,
No.
I've been asking all my guests that since I live near Austin, Minnesota, where the spam museum's at, and they make spam. So yeah, she likes spam. She would probably have fun because they have a
Oh,
lot of
I'm sure
history
she would.
stuff. They have a lot of
Yeah.
different. They have some stuff where you can pretend like you're packaging spam, and they have free spamples they call them, where they walk around and give you a little
Samples.
chunk of
That's cute.
spam with a stick in it. So. Yeah.
Yeah. She loves a museum. She'd read every single
Well,
thing
there
in
you
there.
go.
We'd be in there for hours.
There you go. Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much for being on the show today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. To those listening, thank you for allowing me to be part of your journey. It is truly an honor. Please join the podcast newsletter by clicking on the link in the episode description to keep up with the latest episodes. Together, we can make the world more inclusive. Until next time, stay empowered and be a champion for inclusion.